Some great comments from Dr. Garry Nolan and a lot more. We've got a lot to discuss today, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, Dr. Garry Nolan is replying to the Arrow report, and this is from people I find interesting. So go check out the full interview at your leisure. But yeah, he has some good stuff to say here.
And then, of course, all the skeptics said, "Oh, look, Arrow said it doesn't exist." Ha. Well, no, you're claiming that you want us to show evidence, but when they come to a bunch of conclusions with no evidence, you're willing to accept it, right? So there's a hypocrisy, obviously. But the asymmetry is that the people like Arrow and the DoD get to veto people like David from releasing the information. So David says, "I've got it. I can win this argument, but you have to let me talk about it." And the other side says, "Nope." So it's like a chessboard where one person makes up the rules as they go along.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like, Gary, and that is very troubling that the very people that are coming out with the Arrow report may be behind delaying and heavily censoring David Grush's op-ed and Lou Elizondo's book and so on. I'm hoping that now that we're getting some actual congressional interest from seemingly sincere actors within Congress, that things will begin to change. But that's, it's going to be a long process before things really change, and that's assuming we can keep up the momentum. So it's really important to keep up the field hearings, the hearings in Congress, and getting a subcommittee or a select committee or whatever they can come up with to keep pushing this forward and getting more and more Congress people interested in this to push the ball forward. But it's going to be a long process, so fingers crossed. Meanwhile, the other day I discussed the replica of this image, or a very similar image to this that was found supposedly in South America. But it looks like that was probably a bogus image. But lest anybody think I'm off of the Atlantis train, no, absolutely not. One of the best examples of the proof of Atlantis, or at least some ancient civilization that had its fingers all over the world, and it seemed to, serve as a way to bridge various cultures and get across ideas from their own culture to other cultures around the world. And one of those ideas may have been the handbags of the gods. I love the handbags of the gods. And this is an example from the Americas. You can see him holding the exact same sort of handbag. Here's from Göbekli Tepe, where you see these very similar shapes repeated. There is some debate about what those shapes represent. Are they really the handbags of the gods? One interpretation was that they represented the sunset. I'm seeing something that does not look like a sunset, that looks more like a handbag, but, who knows? Who knows? And then, of course, we have that great example and so many others. Just one possible example of how different cultures across the world seem to have been connected by something. Was that an ancient super civilization like Atlantis? Was this because of ancient trade routes that we don't know anything about? Who knows at this point? But yeah, I think that it seems to imply the existence of something like Atlantis. But let me know what you guys think. Speaking of Atlantis, a sunken city found. Wow, what in the world? That sounds intriguing. That sounds really intriguing, guys. Look at this. This is really cool. This is really cool. And where is this? Where is this place? Lost underwater city discovered in India could rewrite the history of civilization. The vestiges of what many believe to be a lost ancient civilization have been discovered off the coast of western India. What has been described as a vast city, stretching more than 5 miles long and 2 miles wide, was discovered 36 meters underwater in the Gulf of Khombat, previously known as the Gulf of Cambay. The most exciting part of the discovery, which was made by the National Institute of Ocean Technology back in December 2000, is that it could rewrite human history as we know it. However, more than 2 decades since the landmark find, experts are still at loggerheads over the age and significance of the archaeological site, which has come to be known as the Gulf of Combat Cultural Complex. The city-like structures were uncovered by NIOT by chance as they perform routine pollution surveys in the region. Using sonar technology, the team identified huge geometrical structures deep down on the seafloor. Debris recovered from the site included pottery, beads, sculptures, sections of walls, and human bones and teeth, with carbon dating these to be nearly 95,000 years old. So close to the time of Atlantis. Ancient India has long fascinated me. I mean, look at this incredible structure carved out of the stone of the mountain. I mean, it is incredible. Were they using conventional technology to do this? Were they just chipping away at it with tools that we know about? Or was there something more exotic going on? Let me know what you guys think. Meanwhile, UFOs are going mainstream, and this is from The Economist. Very, very interesting. Now, it's primarily talking about this. Enigma Labs, a private company founded in 2020, offers an app that enables users to upload images of UFOs along with descriptions and other data about them. In the past 18 months, it has received around 15,000 submissions. Enigma assesses these using both machine learning and a human moderator. It reckons that around 2/3 are UAP, the new way of saying UFO that sheds the little green man baggage of the old term. There's nothing wrong with the little green man baggage, although I think we can probably ditch green at this point. In other words, they exist but are mysterious. Anyway, I'll take you through it, talking about Enigma's app that they're doing, which sounds really intriguing, and I can't wait for more data to be pinpointed. But I just love that there's an article on The Economist saying UFOs are going mainstream. We're seeing more and more similar articles, and I love it, guys. I love it. I think that UFOs are slowly starting to go mainstream. Meanwhile, an update from James Fox. He says, for those of you in our beloved UAP community feeling discouraged, please don't. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. There's no way they're going to put the genie back in the bottle. We recorded temporary voiceover yesterday for his new documentary, The Program, also returning to Brazil for new developments. I thought that was really interesting because there was a rumor out there not long ago that one of the pilots that transported the bodies of the Virginia beings was going to come forward. Now, I believe that pilot is probably an American, but maybe not. Maybe he's in Brazil. Maybe there's some other new developments from Virginia. Or maybe he's going there for another case, talking about Maje, or any of the numerous cases that have been going on in Brazil over these many years. So why is he going back to Brazil? What is this new development? Let me know what you guys think. Either way, I love his message about not being discouraged. Things are going faster than they ever have been right now. There's no reason to be discouraged. We're getting the typical obfuscation, which we could have expected, from Arrow, Blue Book 2.0. But we also are getting engagement from Congress and gradual dissemination throughout the public. So there is every reason in the world to be optimistic and enthusiastic about events to come. Meanwhile, a clip that never gets old.
I think it's about time that we do disclose that we are in contact with non-human intelligence. That's what needs to be put out there in the public.
Yeah, I think it does. We are in contact with the beings. What form does that contact take? Well, my own research that I've shared with you seems to indicate that at some level in the UFO control group, they are assisting in abductions. They are in contact at a very high level doing very secret stuff that they don't want to reveal. Now, some people think that abductions are for a benevolent purpose, and who knows, maybe they are, maybe they are. Either way, we are definitely, from my research, in contact, And now Timothy Gallaudet is saying something very similar. What exactly is he talking about, though? Is he talking about stuff like that? You know, the deep, crazy stuff? Or is he talking about some more surface level contact? You know, SETI sending signals out and stuff like that. So what do you think that Tim Gallaudet was referring to in this great quote? Someday, I hope he gets asked a follow-up on that. Meanwhile, totally non-related to UFOs, but look at this awesome water slide, guys. Look at this badass water slide. Yeah, from Qatar. This is crazy, guys. This is crazy. Look at this thing. I would totally do that water slide. I'm sorry. That is cool. That is cool, guys. You think you could have a margarita in that thing? You think that'd probably go all over the place, right? Yeah, with a lid on it. With a lid on it. I think you could probably do that. You probably wouldn't want to do that after too many margaritas, but yeah, you know, your first margarita. I think you might be good. I think you might be good. Anyway, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Meanwhile, Gonzalo Chavez has found a new image of what might be a tridactyl being. Check that out. I mean, he's got 3 fingers. He has a weird head shape there. Looks like E.T., doesn't he? Kind of with that head shape. Definitely doesn't look like they are depicting a human. Could they be depicting a god or some fanciful creature of some sort? Or are they depicting one of the Nazca beings or something similar to that? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Oh, and translating from the Japanese, this clay figure is on display at a museum in the southern Alps of Yamanashi Prefecture. When I saw this, I felt the sound of the universe resonating from my heart. The frog, a symbol of fertility, and the snake, a symbol of wisdom. Everything is connected, and it gives me goosebumps. Okay, the frog and the snake. Is this supposed to be a frog? Is that what we are looking at? A snake. Is that the snake right there? Kind of hard to tell for sure. So maybe this is just supposed to represent a frog and not a tridactyl being? I don't know. It doesn't look very froggy. Maybe. What do you think? Meanwhile, the SCU Executive Board member Robert Powell is speaking out, talking about the UAP Task Force and Chris Mellon and Jay Stratton, and he has some interesting things to say. This is from Podcast UFO.
There's one other thing on that Stephenville case in the Bush Ranch incident that I don't think I've told you before, and this is something I found out within the last 2 years, was Jay Stratton, who was the head of the UAP Task Force. He has told me this, as has Chris Mellon, that Jay interviewed some of the pilots of those F-16s, right? Because they had read our report on the Stephenville case. And so he wanted to get firsthand information from the pilots. All the pilots refused to speak to him.
Huh?
Even though he has a top secret clearance.
Is that right?
Head of the UAP Task Force. He couldn't get them to talk to him.
That is, I wonder why. I wonder if they were threatened or something, or why would they, it doesn't even.
Well, I mean, even though you may have a top secret clearance, that doesn't mean you have the right to know.
Yeah, I guess he did not have the right to know. Jay Stratton, who was heading up the UAP Task Force for a while, also associated with Skinwalker Ranch. Now he's working with Dr. Travis Taylor, possibly trying to position themselves to reverse engineer some UFOs. Hey, maybe they're actually doing it. Who knows? Over there at Radiance. So, really interesting figure in a lot of this. Jay Stratton is also the one that worked with David Grush. And Jay Stratton is the man that was haunted by a werewolf. Yeah, I know. It sounds wild. It sounds like you're making something up, but he had a hitchhiker effect from Skinwalker Ranch, and he had a dogman Skinwalker werewolf, wolf being. It was an upright wolf-like being with glowing red eyes. It was terrifying and malevolent, and they would see it in the backyard. His family members would see it, and then people in their orbit would see it. So yeah, it's a really fascinating case. I hope that it's gone away. It sounds utterly terrifying. But yes, it was a clearly, seemingly a hitchhiker from a Skinwalker Ranch, and just goes to show you what a crazy and sometimes scary place Skinwalker Ranch can be. Either way, Jay Stratton tried to get this information from these F-16 pilots, and they wouldn't talk. They would not talk to Jay Stratton. So who would they talk to, or who are they allowed to talk to? Sean Kirkpatrick? I mean, are they allowed to talk to the control group? Are they just not supposed to talk about it at all? And who is telling them not to talk about it? Who has the clearance to tell these guys you can't talk about it to anybody and to enforce that? So, yeah, very interesting that the control group has this tight a lock on this information. They're able to keep out, Tom Wilson. They're able to keep out Harry Reid. The people in the highest levels of the political sector in the Pentagon sector, they were able to keep out, keep them from getting any secrets about the UFO control group. And they're also able to manage the military at a very individual, very specific basis. They can lock entire ships down. If there's a UFO that comes out of the water, the captain might order everybody indoors and not to come out until that UFO is gone. That has happened before, and similar things like that have happened before. The captain may have had some sort of briefing or training going into his job that if this happens, this is what you do. So again, just shocking levels of power from the UFO control group. Their tentacles are everywhere, and it is, we can fight that. We can fight that. How can we fight that? Well, getting Congress engaged is definitely a big part of that. Also, there are pro-disclosure elements within the UFO control group. That is how some of this information seems to be coming out. So, so I'm optimistic, but obviously the anti-disclosure group is still very powerful, and they've got all the levers of power. So we will just see how it goes, but we are making more progress than ever before. Things are moving faster than they ever have before, and I personally am very optimistic about UFO disclosure. But let me know what you think about this story and everything else covered today in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the like button, the subscribe button, the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on Facebook, Twitter, Discord, links below. Buy some merch in the merch store. Become a channel member to support the channel. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.